Hello, this is the Syrian Pony. I'm here with the master, Riley Wichmann, the model master, the MM. Riley, how you doing?
Going. I'm doing great. I'm excited. I'm really excited to get going here. It's should be a really interesting season. And I mean, obviously, like I mentioned earlier, I'm just happy to have the season here, right?
Yeah, I really am excited that they worked something out. Today, I'm really happy to bring you guys the projections for the National League. We have all three divisions here with their anticipated wins according to our proprietary numbers. And we see some recommendations that Riley has taken. We're going to just go through and talk real quick about the recommendations with Riley. We'll go ahead and start in the NL East. We see that the model projects Philadelphia to win the NL East. Is that correct, Riley?
Yeah, we have them winning by about actually a little less than a win. So that's one that I can expect would be a very close division, and I think that's a pretty widely shared belief. But I mean, obviously the Mets will be contenders. The Braves should be contenders once again. But I just really like the price that we get at 440 with the Phillies. I think they added a couple very strong hitters to the middle of their lineup. Well, actually, Castellanos being the main guy, so never mind. It might just be Castellanos. I'm struggling to keep up with the the free agency. By the way, it's been all over the place. But
A lot of
the
movement,
main thing
a
I like
lot
the
of movement.
Phillies, I love about the Phillies though is their starting five. They're starting five pitchers here, and I think just looking at the model right now, for me personally, I have four of those five are in the top 100. Three of them are in the top 25. So very strong starting five pitchers for Philadelphia, and obviously if they keep them healthy, for me getting them at 440 in a division that's probably going to be highly competitive, I really like the price. So I think it's worth putting a unit on, and that's why I decided to pull the trigger on that one.
All right. So expected edge sports official recommendation, 1 unit, the Philadelphia Phillies to win the NL East at plus 440 or better. Riley, have you noticed these prices varying amongst sports books?
I haven't taken too big of a look yet, and that's kind of something I was going to get to, but I'll start sifting through, and obviously these are all pinnacle numbers to keep them consistent. But yeah, there's been some. I heard a couple of guys mention that you could get a better price on that one potentially at some places. So just nothing specific for me that I've really looked into yet. But yes, it's something I'll definitely start getting into. But and actually, kind of transitioning quickly into the Marlins too. It's a very similar story for me, where they're starting five pitchers, specifically their top three: Alcantara, Pablo Lopez, and Trevor Rogers. The model loves them. If they stay healthy, it's a very strong rotation. And having Jesus Luzardo as your fifth isn't the worst option in the world either. But obviously, this is going to be a trend where the model values starting pitching. If you can keep your starters healthy and you have 3 to 4 solid starters, they're going to win you a lot of the games throughout the course of the year. And I think the Marlins will be a case where they're going to be grinding out a lot of these wins by 1 or 2 runs. But their bullpen for me doesn't necessarily stand out, but they have 3 or 4 guys at the back end: Dylan Floro, Anthony Bender, Richard Blyer, that can close out games for you. So that's why I like them here, even though this is going to be a little bit more of a tight one, as you can see with just 6% edge. But you get it at plus money, so for me, it's not a bad scenario.
All right. So we're putting 2 units on the Marlins to exceed their season win total number right now set at 76.5 for about even money. And as Riley mentioned, our numbers are aligned with Pinnacle. Pinnacle is known to be able to take big wagers. So they're a much more reliable book with numbers. They're much more of a sharp book. So we align we pull our numbers from Pinnacle so that we pull the sharpest numbers that we can. Obviously, if you have a broker and a bookie that many shops are going to be able to beat Pinnacle numbers, If you have a shop that's not catering towards sharp bettors, you're probably going to be able to get better numbers, but we would prefer to err on the side of giving you numbers from a sharp outfit, and then having you go shop for better numbers, than giving you a number that not many people can get. That's not the type of operation that we run. We want to be able to put out numbers that the majority of the people have access to. We see there's nothing much going on in the NL Central here. And Riley, was there something that you passed up on that you thought about, or was this just something where there wasn't much edge anywhere to be seen?
Yeah, more of the latter for me. I mean, just looking at our totals compared to Pinnacles, I mean, they're really hard to find significant edge anywhere. I mean, you got 3 wins on the Cubs, but that's minus 109. But outside of that, I mean, it's once again, it's really hard to find any edge here. So for me, a division that I kind of see finishing where, very close to where Vegas has it placed right now. No reason to, risk a hand in the leg for something that I don't really see much edge on at all. So that's why I've decided to hold off in this division entirely. But personally, being a Milwaukee Brewers fan myself as well, I don't want to be putting anything on the Cubs. So
Nobody wants to bet on the Cubs, Riley.
yeah,
Nobody
exactly.
outside of a specific portion of Chicago wants to bet on the Cubs. And being a White Sox fan myself,
Yeah.
I was very happy to make money on the season win total under a couple of years ago for the Cubs. I'm looking here, and it looks like Milwaukee, we have them projected to kind of be the cream of the crop in the NL. They have they're projected to have the most wins, granted by 1/10 of a game to San Francisco. But so we really like Milwaukee's pitching. Is that what it comes down to?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, you look at Burns, Woodruff, and Peralta. I mean, those are 3 top 50 starters. Burns and Woodruff are 2 top 10 starters. And then just looking at their bullpen, it's really hard to find weaknesses in their pitching right now. Maybe your longer relievers would be the point of concern. But once again, if you have quality starters, you're not going to be needing to rely on those guys too often. So that's for me. It's hard to find another team this year that has the quality of starters combined with the double punch of Hader and Williams, assuming that they both continue at the output they've been putting out, which might be a little hard. We can expect some regression there, but yeah. And you got Aaron Ashby as well, another reliever who had a great last year, who could potentially be a third guy for them that they can rely on. So really the only area of concern for me is the back end of that rotation at 5, and then your longer relievers. But outside of that, it's a very, very well put together team. The question then is, offensively, where are they going to be this season? And I think that's probably where, that side of things holds them back from, being an 100+ win team. But we'll see. I mean, they added Andrew McCutchen. They lost obviously Al Garcia. So there's been some give and take. So it's really just going to come down to how that offense pans out in terms of how far they go this season, maybe potentially winning a pennant. But I would personally love that. But, nothing, I don't want to put any money on them. And that's, we're pretty tight with Penny's numbers anyway. So.
All right. And the last division in the National League that we haven't spoken of is the NL West. And here we have basically a 2-dog race with the Dodgers and the Giants. We have the Dodgers projected at 90.4 wins, and the Giants projected at 91 wins even. And it looks like a play or a recommendation was triggered on both of these. So we have the Dodgers. Their season win total line sits at 97.5 right now, about even money to the under, which means that the market likes the over at that price, right?
Yeah, and honestly, this is one of those. And for those of you who don't know me at this point, I very much love to fade the public. And for me, after they added Freddie Freeman, immediately I was already looking in this direction, because obviously the wide perception is this lineup, this starting lineup in terms of batting is going to be very, very strong, which you can't disagree with. And I don't disagree with it. But for me, I'm trying to always find areas where we have, edge like this, where you have 7% edge on that under. And obviously we can talk about why a little bit. I think that's the case here. But, immediately the biggest thing is right away, it's, we have a team that's going to be extremely overhyped. Can their batting carry them this year? They do have Kershaw still, they still have their three guys in Walker Buehler, Urias, Kershaw, Trevor Bauer. That's an interesting one because he is still technically not playing. I'm not sure how long it's going to drag out, but obviously them missing out on Trevor Bauer early will hurt them a little bit. But I personally think the biggest problem with this team is their bullpen. They just lost Kenley Jansen, and looking at their bullpen in general here, they're going to need some of these. I hesitate to say younger guys because they're not younger. It's Daniel Hudson, Blake Trinan, I think his name is. So guys that are older but less experienced on this team, and they're going to need these old. So Hudson, Trinan, those are the two back end guys. You have Vesia, and then you do actually have a bunch of younger guys at the front end of this rotation in terms of their bullpen. So for me, that their bullpen is a question mark. And
I'm attracted to this line in general, simply because 97.5 is a huge total.
Yeah.
If you think about it, how hard is it to win 98, 99 games at the major league level? It's extremely difficult. So the fact that you're like, things have to go your way, at least for a significant portion of the season. And so you're really, most teams are playing within 10 games of 50-50. So, I think this number is very attractive, just as a number in general, just because it is so hard to win that many games in a baseball season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, getting the plus money is that really sold me as well. So if you can find out even a better price still, that would be, for me, that's excellent. But we'll see. I mean, once again, like I mentioned, they have a bunch of younger guys in the bullpen. They have, they're still missing out on Trevor Bauer, so they're missing out on the really the fourth ace that they had for a little bit. And so then they have guys, 4 and 5 right now are Andrew Haney and Tyler Anderson for them. So obviously they have 3 studs, but we'll see how it plays out. Honestly, the biggest reason though why this is even a play is because of how highly the model rates their counterparts here, San Francisco. And once again, for me, it's a really, really strong lineup this year. We underrated them last year, and the model learned very quickly that this team is no joke. And now at this point, seeing them at the win total they're at, 84.5. I can't remember how many they won last year, but I want to look at that. But it was significantly higher, and I don't necessarily anticipate to do, for them to replicate it. But I know I do anticipate they'll have another strong season here. So it was 107 wins last year. So obviously that's a bit of an outlier. They had an exceptional season. They had a bunch of older, veteran guys stepping up and having huge years. But once again, I don't think this lineup necessarily gets that much worse. They add Jock Peterson. They still have Evan Longoria, Crawford, Brandon Belt. So they have a bunch of these, once again, older, experienced guys that had excellent years last year. And then their starting rotation as well, I do want to talk about, because this is another reason why I don't mind this play. Logan Webb, they added Rodon. They still have DeSclafani, Alex Wood, Alex Cobb. That's probably one of the best rotations out there from 1 to 5, in my opinion. So that's probably the biggest reason why I like this play. And as we talked about before, how much starting pitching is a big deal for me. So we have them actually beating out the Dodgers to win this division again. So it's going to be, I anticipate this will be a very tight race, but And that's also part of the reason why I do feel comfortable risking 4 units on this division that could, those two plays could go hand in hand with each other, just because of the reasons we talked about. But obviously, I love to fade the public, and Dodgers is a good example of that one.
Excellent. Well, Riley, you've done an amazing job as usual. And we also have some really strong recommendations in the AL. Jump on board with us at Expected Edge Sports, and you can share in our AL selections for we have 2 2-unit plays in the AL along with a division play in the AL. So come on board with Expected Edge Sports. We really try to deliver a great value for your dollar, and we are a really great community to be a part of. So consider coming on board, and you get the AL along with daily baseball. And we really, really look forward to this season. Riley, thank you again.
Absolutely. Let's get this thing rolling here. A couple more weeks.
We're excited. I hope you're excited. And we'll catch you on the next video.